Moshe, can you say that again? Moshe. When Moshe was a teenager, you know how big teenagers are and how impetuous they are. You probably don't know what impetuous means, though. Moshe went outside and he saw something he didn't like at all. He saw that the children of Israel, all the Jewish kids and adults, were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. He realized that they had to work long and hard hours every day, and that they were beaten with sticks and whips to make them work harder. Does that sound nice? Oh. So they had to, like, you can do this if you want. Chomp with axes on rocks to break up rocks. Chop, chop, chop. And they had to pick up those rocks and carry them. And they had to build cities with rocks and bricks, store cities called Pitom and Ramses. And they had to work all the time, and it was as hot in Egypt as it is in Tucson. Even hotter. It was even hotter than it is in Phoenix. It was terrible working there. And they had to work like slaves because they were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. It was terrible. And Moshe, who'd been living in the palace, which is very nice, with lots of nice, fresh, cool water to drink, and delicious food to eat, and people to wait on him, and servants, and if he got hot, someone would wave a big fan to keep him cool. He went outside and he saw how miserable the children of Israel were as slaves in Egypt. And he was very upset and disturbed. And he walked around a little and he realized, you know something? This isn't right. And then he saw something else. He saw a taskmaster. That's kind of a slave boss, an overseer. And he had a stick. And you know what he was doing? And you guess what he was doing?
Beating a person.
Beating a person. That's exactly right, Ellie. He was, it's terrible, isn't it? He was beating an Israelite, a Jew. He was beating a slave to make him work more, or maybe just because he wanted to. And Moshe was furious. He got very upset. And he ran up to the taskmaster. And he whacked him. The taskmaster fell down and died. And Moshe looked this way, he looked that way. He took the taskmaster, there's nobody around, buried him in the sand. He knew, even if you're a prince, you're not supposed to just go out and murder an official of the Egyptian army, government. You're not supposed to go murder a taskmaster. And so, Moshe was kind of worried, but he figured nobody knew. But the next day he went out to see how the slaves were doing. These Hebrew slaves, and he realized they were, he was Hebrew too, he kind of knew them. He went out to see how they were doing, and there saw, guess what? Two Israelites, two children of Israel, what do you think they were doing? They were fighting with each other. Do you guys ever fight? Oh, of course not. Well, these two were fighting, and they were punching each other. And Moshe ran up, and he said, "Stop that! You're brothers. You're both Hebrew slaves. I'm a Hebrew too." And they looked at him, and they said, "What? Are you going to kill us like you killed the taskmaster yesterday?" And Moshe realized that they knew. That people knew that he killed this taskmaster. The taskmaster was evil. He was doing a bad thing, but you're still not supposed to kill him. Keep that in mind later in life. And Moshe knew he had to run away. And he did. And he fled from Egypt. And he went into the wilderness of Midian. Because he knew that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, wouldn't let someone kill his taskmasters, and Moshe would be in big trouble. So the story keeps going. I kind of want to tell you one more little part of it. Should we save it for next week or tell you now? Do you want it now or save it for next time? Now? All right, I'll tell you just a little more because it's a really long story, the story of Moshe. Moshe came in the desert. You know how the desert is. We live in the desert. We know the desert. And he came across this desert in Midian, and he was walking for a long time, running away from Pharaoh in Egypt. And he came to a well. Now, the well where you get
Water.
water. Right. And what do you need in the desert more than anything else? You need water. I need water. So Moshe came to this well, and he saw that a woman was there and her sisters, and they were trying to get water for their sheep. But these mean shepherd boys, you know how mean boys can be, don't you, girls? Yeah, it's true. Sometimes, not you guys, but mean shepherd boys, they wouldn't let her get water. They were stealing all the water for their sheep. And Moshe, who was a pretty strong guy, ran up to them and he chased away the shepherd boys. And he gave water to the sheep, or the girls. And one of those girls was named Zipporah. Can you see that? Zipporah. And it turned out that eventually they invited Moshe back to their house. And he met their dad, Yitro. And later on, he married Zipporah. And I'll tell you more about that